Welcome to another edition of For the Health of It. I'm your host, Corey and K-Pad Paget, and today I got Greg Jenkins with me. Greg, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on, man? It's Greg Jenkins from Dade City, Florida. Former college quarterback and NFL wide receiver, kick return, punt returner.
All right. So, Greg, you from Dade City, Florida. Got some real talent down in Dade City, man. Chat us up about some of the people down there, some of the athletes.
We got a lot of talent. We got a few kids in the NFL. We got some kids over in Canada. We got some ballers in college football as well. And it's always a pool of talent in the youth leagues and high school and stuff like that that'll eventually migrate to college and then hopefully the next level.
Okay. All right, Greg. So, man, you said you played quarterback in college. I was there when you first went to college at Gulf Coast, man. So, chat me up about that when you got to Gulf Coast, or chat me up about how you got to Gulf Coast.
Yeah, that's pretty of a long. I'll try to break it down as much as I can, but I think I was supposed to go D1. I had some D1 offers, but coming down to the end, I think I may have been like, from my junior year to my senior year, they switched the core credits for D1 eligibility. So it went from 14 core credits to 16.
Okay.
And I think I fell, and I was ahead of schedule.
Right.
I fell in the middle. I had 15.
Right.
So when it all boiled down to it, I had two choices: go to a military school or go to a school in California. And in California, junior colleges in California, they don't have scholarships. So I was gonna have to take out a loan and stuff like that.
Right.
So me and Coach Huff had a conversation. He was like, they wanted me, but they didn't have any scholarships.
Right.
So I had to come to Gulf Coast as a preferred walk-on.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it was me, Corey Danner, Marcus, and I think his name was Devin Johnson from Tennessee.
The light-skinned cat.
Yeah.
I remember him.
So it was all four of us.
Right.
And because Jared, I think
Jared Foster
he went to Ole Miss.
Right.
So now, and then the other dude got in trouble for drugs, so now they didn't have a quarterback.
Gotcha.
So they was gonna bring all four of us in, and then he told me whoever won the starting job was gonna get the scholarship. They only had one available. So my high school coach, he was a conservative, so he was just like, he was leaning towards the military school, New Mexico Military Institute.
Right.
I didn't want to cut my hair. As you can see, I still got my dreadlocks.
Still rocking the dreads.
But he was like, he's a conservative, and he was just like, they're offering everything. And then being raised by a single mom and, finances not being like that, that would have been the logical decision to, hey, go to where it's guaranteed, where they're paying for everything. But me, trusting in my ability, having faith in God, and just, I stepped out on faith.
Right.
And I was like, man, if they're offering an opportunity to where I can get this, and I was going to bet on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. And crazy thing, I think we did like 7-on-7 the first day.
Right.
The first day we did 7-on-7, there was no starters. They said group one, I just jumped in the front like I was not going to be denied. I just jumped in the front. And the order that we did that, when I jumped in, then Corey went, no, it was Corey. Whatever order it was, that's how it ended up on the depth chart.
Right. Okay. Now I definitely remember, man, because I did 2.5 years at Gulf Coast, man. So I got there a year before you did. So we had on that depth chart, it was Gennario, then it was Jared, then it was Tyler Brush, and I think Tyler Brush was in a similar situation where he was like a red shirt at first, but I don't know what happened to Tyler, but Gennario graduated. Jared went off to Ole Miss, and then like you said, y'all came in, and only person I knew, like I guess that was day one when I saw you, because like you said, that depth chart stayed you, Corey, and everybody else. And then I think at the end of the year, it was only you and Corey on the roster.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
So it was like, I don't think, because we get like a break before training camp.
Right.
So Coach Huff wasn't supposed to tell me because he was giving me a ride back to the airport. I think I was going to be home for like a week. He was like, yeah, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but he was like, you're the starter going into training camp. Don't mean the job mine, but he was like, going into camp, you're the starter. But he was like, that the work doesn't stop there. So I went home with, a sense of pride, but I wasn't content. I was like, man, I'm one step closer. So I just got to keep my head down and keep working. But I did have an advantage, though, because with me being a walk-on, a lot of the freshmen, they were in, like, classes. Like, the dudes that were on scholarship, they were taking class. All I had was a PE class.
Okay.
And other than that, I was in the facility in the meetings. Like, I was learning to play. Like, not to take nothing against Coach Bennett, I learned the playbook faster than he did.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the wide receiver coach at the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned the playbook faster than he did. And it is not a knock on his, just I wasn't going home. I had that mentality like, I'm not going home.
Right.
So I put in like unbelievable hours of work to learn the playbook.
That you did, man. So
plus I didn't have no classes, so I utilized that time.
Exactly, as you should have. So let's fast forward a little bit, man. You won the starting job. I think we ended up losing 2 games that year. 2 or 3, I can't really remember. But
2,
yeah. We lost to East Mississippi and Colin, correct?
Yep.
I remember those 2. Both of them, East Mississippi was at home. Colin was at Colin for their homecoming. And then we go to the Mississippi Bowl, and we just dog walked Georgia Tech or Georgia Military.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you showed out that game, man. You definitely showed out that game.
And only played 3 quarters, man.
Wow, I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Okay, man. So I know you broke all kind of records there your first year. So going into your second year, chat me up, man, because we had higher expectations going into that second year. And I think we fell a little short, man, but we still got a lot of things accomplished.
Yeah, we at one point we were ranked number 2 in the country.
Okay.
But, and crazy story, if we would have won the state championship, which we lost 75-71, no overtime. If we would have won that game, we would have played against Cam Newton and them.
Yeah, I realized that like two years ago. I was like, bro, Blinn was the number 1 school. We were number like 2. East Mississippi was like number 3. And just the fact that I was like, bro, had we won, we would have played against Cam and them. Man, we would have whooped them, bro. I don't give it. Honestly, I think we would have. I think we would have won, man. The fact you brought it up, 75-71. We lost that game. No double overtime, no overtime. That was straight regulation.
That was like a basketball game.
That legit was a basketball game, man. Like just the pace of it. I got home, got back to the dorm that night after a long ride home, and I said, I literally just witnessed the best game I ever seen. Like, and somebody was like, man, there was no defense. I was like, no, you don't understand. That was the best game I've ever seen at that point in my life. I was like, bro. And to be a part of it, not that I was, a player or anything. I was a trainer at the time, but I remember.
You're still a part of it. You got a ring from freshman year. You're a part of it.
Hey, that is definitely true. I got 2 rings to be exact, but
oh, my bad.
No, but you did help me get one of them, so I appreciate that, man. They definitely, man. I remember they jumped out on us, and then we came back, and I remember Danny walking by and saying, something's great finna happen this game. Like, something spectacular is finna happen. And sure enough, man, like, even though it was a losing effort, we did put in work. So I want to talk about, man, you transitioning from Gulf Coast to the next level after that. How did you
to Troy?
Yes, sir.
That was pretty challenging for me because that was my first time ever like I would say, hitting a wall
Mm-hmm.
as far as them wanting me to change positions, and I wasn't, because the they had a coaching change. My first week on campus at Troy, the offensive coordinator took the job at Texas Tech. So now you got the receiver coach. He moves into the offensive coordinator role.
Gotcha.
So at the time, me being young and me being narrow-minded, everything he told me was true. He was like, hey, we had a meeting. He was like, your size, your quickness, you're not a blazer, but you're fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you're a 4'6" guy, but he was like, I never seen anybody run you down. Good game speed, you can change direction well, and you have good hands. He was like, you'll make your money on Sundays playing wide receiver. As a kid, you talking to a 20-year-old, you're a 20-year-old, I wasn't trying to hear that. I'm like, man, I'm a quarterback. At that time, you talking, what, like I'm 5 years in playing quarterback?
Right.
Strictly quarterback.
Right.
So I'm like, nah, I'm a QB. So they was like, you can either do some wildcat stuff and play receiver, or redshirt and learn the offense. But the part of the redshirt and learn the offense part, they ran the same offense we ran at Gulf Coast. So it was that was the first time I faced politics.
Right.
Like, I found out I was redshirted through the school newspaper.
Wow.
Yes, I'm in the cafeteria. I don't know if it was breakfast, but I'm reading it, and the head coach is like, it's a 2 quarterback race. Jenkins is redshirting this year to get a feel for the. I'm like, get a feel for the offense. We running the same offense, but the only difference is a couple names of the plays are different.
Right.
But the spread, no huddle, same passing concept, all of that, everything is the same. But it's like, I'm like, bro, this is different. Like, I'm not used to, like, it's almost like a reality show. It's like when you in it, but behind the scenes, it's different. But on camera, it's like, I'm just like, this is different for me. And it was hard to accept that. It's just like, that's not real to me, and that's not loyal or honest. Like, if you tell me something behind the scenes and then you get in front of a camera and say something else, I can't trust you.
Right.
And once that trust was broken, I knew I was going to leave. I just didn't know where I was going to go.
Gotcha. So you knew this time frame here. This is when around August. This is before school actually started, before training camp started, or what? This is during 2 days.
Yeah. This is before training camp.
Okay.
Spring already passed.
Right.
Because I came in during the spring.
Okay. So, did you play in the spring game?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man. So now we're in August. You found out you redshirted and whatnot, and you basically already know. Now I'm getting up out of here. So how do you go about figuring out where you're going from there?
Man, it was I think that was my first time actually. When I researched it, I was dealing with I was having withdrawals. I was dealing with depression. I was dealing with a lot, man. Identity crap. Like, I was dealing with so much, but the only thing that kept me going was, I know one of the, I won't say his name, but one of the strength and conditioning coaches, he pulled me in his office and he was like, man, you got a lot of talent. He was like, stay in shape, stay focused. And he was like, get the F up out of here. He told me this out of his mouth.
Right.
But I wasn't an angel, because by them being disloyal to me, I started doing things that wasn't in my character. I started talking back. I started interrupting meetings. I was being immature. A little kid that don't get their way. They're going to, kick, scrap. They're going to do it. I was doing that, like, a little petty stuff. So it was a certain meeting. You know, at the games, you know, like linemen, they get pancakes, they get like Snickers, but whatever. They was just throwing stuff out. And me and another receiver was in the back talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I never been the type to disrespect coaches, nothing like that. But if I feel like you challenge me, I'm a stubborn person. I'm gonna go against the grain just because I feel a certain way.
Right.
So he was like, he stopped the meeting. He was like, hey, Greg, you want us to wait till y'all done talking? Like out loud. Like everything is silent. And I was like, yeah. And like, he was like, get out of here. Like kicked me out of a meeting.
Wow.
And it was like they made this big riffraff. And I think one of the assistants was like running me down, like, man, what's up? He's like, what's going on, man? Da, da, da. And I'm just like going off on him. It was just a mess, man. I was a mess. And I didn't care. That was the scary part. But so I think that same day or the next day we had a quarterback meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't late. I probably was coming in like a minute right before the meet or something like that. And it's so crazy. The guy, I won't say his name, the guy that's the head coach now at Troy, he was the quarterback coach at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He met me at the door, bro, and said, you don't have to be here, and slammed the door in my face.
Wow.
Yeah, it got real, bro. So after that, I get back to my dorm, and the whole plot was they made it seem like – this is when I learned a lot about college football and the rules stuff. Mm-hmm. They made it seem like I quit.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know this. So they did that, and then I skipped a part. That when I had a meeting with the strength and conditioning coach, like they barred me. I couldn't go to meetings, nothing like that. So they made it seem like I quit. Mm-hmm. But I had a good relationship with the strength coach, so he let me still use the facility. They didn't like that. That's his building, so he still let me use it. Right. But so that was motivating that I had somebody supporting me that was on their staff. Like he supported me. It was like, man, you know, you're a good kid, you're a good athlete. I want to see you do good. And even to this day, we still have a relationship because I respected him for he didn't have to do that, and he did it. I'm big on respect. So the same dude that kicked me out of the meet or closed the door in my face, a couple of days later, he blowing my phone up. Hey, Greg, I got a buddy at such and such school. Because at this point, they know I'm leaving.
Right.
So, well, yeah, I got a buddy at this such and such school. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I never answered a text message. I never answered a phone call. I didn't respond to the voicemail. He leaving all this. I'm like, dude, you just slammed the door in my face. Like, that's when I'm like, okay, he can't use me. So he wants me to. So they was pretty much trying to blackball me. They kind of figured out I was going to Alabama State through, you know, the grapevine. Mm-hmm. But they tried to blackball me. Like, okay, if you don't go to this school, then like, I did some crazy stuff. Like I worked out. It was somebody that came to Troy practice facility and worked me out.
From Alabama State?
Yeah. I can't say names. Though,
hey, we're going to leave it at this. We're going to leave it at that.
Bruh, I don't know what I was so gullible. And then it was like a mob meeting, dog. Like a couple of days later, he called me, the dude, the initial coach that kicked me out of the meeting, that asked me the question. And he said, we was down like the basement office. Just me and him. And he was just like, man, he was like, I wish I could take your scholarship away. You're ungrateful. You're a selfish player and stuff like that. Looking back, the way I went about doing it was immature and selfish, but I was making a business decision. Right. I already played 2 years in JUCO.
Right.
I only have 2 years left with a red shirt.
Right.
So why would I waste that red shirt to play a minimized role when I could just red shirt and go somewhere else and get full 2 years?
True that.
So we in a meeting, he like, I wish I could take your scholarship. He was like, I have a son and he's gonna be a gray shirt and I wish I could give him your scholarship and all kind of stuff he was saying. But he couldn't. You know why? For one, I didn't get in trouble. I really didn't get in no trouble. And then I kept my grades up.
Right.
If I would have gotten in trouble, arrested, or anything like that, or didn't maintain a 2.0 GPA, I could have lost my scholarship. Because your scholarship is year-to-year basis.
Right.
When kids sign on signing day, they think, "Oh my God, my son or my daughter signed." No, they sign year to year.
Yeah.
So that year I was good because I kept my grades up, and I didn't get in any trouble. So that's when I learned, like, oh, this is really a business. Mm-hmm. So I started approaching it like that. Like, as long as I handle my business, you can't do nothing to me. And I had that kind of energy, like, you can't do nothing to me, and they hated that.
Right.
That's why he didn't like me, and that's why the tension was like this. He couldn't do nothing to me. I was untouchable. But fast forward, like, go back a little bit. I'm moving like the Last Dance. They going back and forth.
Right.
But the backup quarterback they did like some Wildcat stuff with him. Mm-hmm. So we like 6 games into the season, and we on ESPN. We playing Middle Tennessee State. Dude break his leg on, like, in the middle of the game. And I was a red shirt, but I still dressed out.
Right, okay.
I tell you, I've never been scared in a football game. I was like, yo, he just broke his leg. Now they want me to go do that? And, like, I'm like, what? So I'm just on the sideline. They was like, warm up. I never touched the field as a Troy Trojan, but I dressed out every game.
Right.
So that's like a lion being in a cage, like you dangling meat over a lion's cage, like, but he can't eat it.
Right.
That was frustrating for me. So they like warm up. So you got people that they looked at me like a scrub. They never even like probably said 2 words to me. Now they telling me to warm up. Dudes pat me on the back. Like, let's go, G. Greg, whatever they call me. Mm-hmm. Like, let's go, man. I'm like, our dudes ain't never said 2 words to me. Now I'm about to play. Now it's like, now they are teammate and buddy now. And I ended up, thank God they didn't put me on. I didn't play that game. So after that, that's when I made my mind up. Like, I'm holding out. Like, I'm not playing. Like, I'm not. If we already halfway through the season, so that means I would play the rest of the year on a Wildcat basis, which is a couple plays a game.
Right.
I was like, I made a business decision. I was like, I'm not. And that's why when I said I wasn't going to do it, that's when they kind of like exiled me almost to say I got exiled.
Okay.
And, yeah, man, it was tough. But after my rookie year, I ended up like the type of athlete I am, I always use negative things that happened to me as motivation to push forward. But the thing about that, when you move off negative energy, that fuel burns out
quickly.
So now you have to like look for different things. But when you move off the positive never runs out. Mm-hmm. So my whole life I was the underdog, and I always looked for, oh, this person looked over me, this person didn't believe in me. That eventually runs out. So it's like, dang, I made it now. I mean, I proved everybody wrong. What can I do now? So now you have to
find some kind of
transition from letting the negative move you to moving off love, moving off positivity. But when I made it after my rookie, I was like, you know what? I'm a grown man. I reached out to that coach, and we had a long conversation. And I apologized. I was like, man, you was right. I was like, the whole time you was right. We laughed about it and everything. Because now I'm in the NFL. I'm a wide receiver.
Right.
Everything he said was right. But at that time, I was like, I was so strong-minded on being a quarterback. But he was right. And I'm man enough to admit that. He was right. But at that time, I didn't see it that way.
Okay. Hey, that shows growth, though, for real, man. That definitely shows growth, man. I like that, man. I like that. So you go to Alabama State, and before I just want to say something. A buddy of mine said to me, he's an older cat, much older than us. He's probably like 50. I remember telling him that you went to Alabama State from Troy because Troy wanted to move you to wide receiver. And I was like, he's going to the NFL he played quarterback at Alabama State, but now he's finna play receiver in the league. He was like, well, why didn't he just stay at Troy to play wide receiver? I said, hey, man, Don't worry about it, man. He was like, man, it just would have made it a little more. I said, hey, I don't know. I ain't the man. I ain't great. But I think I was like, the man, a quarterback to me. That's how I know him, man. So let's talk about fast forward through your 2 years at Alabama State.
Oh man, not to diss any other coaches I ever had, but I would say when I got to Alabama State, I had my first real quarterback coach, meaning that somebody knowledge and passion for the game is on like a elite level.
Okay.
And he challenged me in more ways than you could think of, on the field and off the field. And it's like we clicked. It was like when you coaching, everybody has different coaching styles.
Mm-hmm.
And ours was like, me and the other coaches like this. But me and this coach was like this.
Gotcha.
And when you're on the same page, you have the same visions, and they believe in you,
mm-hmm.
man, I would have ran through a wall for them then, and I still will now. And it's like, we built a relationship. It wasn't like everywhere you go, like even like now, if people that have jobs and stuff, you deal with people because y'all work together.
Right.
That's a work relationship. It wasn't that. He was like a mentor of mine. He was a father figure. And he was a quarterback coach. So we could sit down, we could have meetings and all of that, and then we could talk about life. He'd be like, man, how your mom doing? Mm-hmm. Like, stuff like that goes a long way with me. And God rest my mom's soul, like, she loved him too. Like, okay. I was like he would joke with her. He was like, man, quarterback maker. He called it a quarterback maker. He was like, I need another Greg Jenkins. He was like, when you gonna make me? And she was like, oh, I'm done, baby. He's like, ain't no more. Like, he the last one.
Okay. Man, what you drinking on right there, man? Is that something that need that Greg juice?
Nah, I ain't made none yet. This is some lemonade. I just needed something to quench my thirst.
I got you.
This 30-minute interview.
Hey, you the one keeping it going, man. But for real though, so let's fast forward through. You mentioned the great coach you had at Alabama State. Let's go to that senior year at Alabama State. How you getting prepared for the NFL?
Oh man, that it was. I think that was probably the greatest year of my life, or minus getting married and having kids. But at that time, I wasn't. I was still in college, but right. At that time, I considered that the greatest year of my life because everything came full circle. Mm-hmm. It's like Little League, middle school, high school, JUCO, the trials and tribulations at Troy. It's like, man, it's like it's here. Like, I have one last hurdle, and then I'm one step closer to my dream. Like, it was kind of, I want to say, it was kind of like scary, but then again, it was like, I had mixed feelings. It was like, man, it's really here. Am I ready for it? Then I had another side, like, you was born to do this. Mm-hmm. So it was like, and then it helped with me redshirt. Now I'm behind. So now I got teammates like Vic.
Right.
Wayne.
Right.
Big June.
Right.
Damon.
Mm-hmm.
All these cats, they signed on NFL teams.
Chris
so I'm
White.
like, yeah, Chris White. My bad, Chris White. I'm like, yo, this is real. Like, and not saying I'm better than them, or they bet like, I'm like, if they could do it, I could do it.
Right.
So it was like surreal. I'm like, man, I remember going to war with these dudes. 5 a.m. work, like, them dudes made it. We came through the trenches together. I was like, I felt like I could make it too if they did. That was a part of my motivation. So, yeah, my senior year, going into it, and I had like a mindset switch because the same dude I said always challenged me, he also kept it real with me.
Okay.
So midway through the season, I think I had a conversation with an Atlanta Falcons scout. No, this might have been in the beginning of the season.
Okay.
We played spread no huddle offense. So with the spread, you got the RPOs, the run pass option, you got passing, the quarterback running the ball. And it was me and him one-on-one. We sat down, and he was like, how do you feel about being a wide receiver? I was like, I don't have a problem with switching. Like, he's as a returner as well, returner, kick return. I was like, I did it in high school, kick return, my kick return, punt return, and I was like, I have the skills to, play that position. And after that day, going forward, I knew I was going to play another position in the NFL.
Okay.
But I was going to complete my task as a college quarterback first.
Gotcha.
So in meeting rooms, if we play in a team and I don't feel comfortable in the pocket, I take off and run, or I don't go through all my progression. I just take off and run. My quarterback coach told me, he was like, hey, man, he was like, you keep doing this and looking good, running around like that. He was like, yo, bleep going to be playing wide receiver in the NFL. And I was like, okay. And like, he was saying that like that was a bad, but
that was a bad thing, right?
Looking back, he was right. I was showing him too much. Like, I was too good at it. Because when I broke loose, I'm on the second level. I'm getting busy.
You were.
Like a running back. So when I broke loose, I was like a returner, running back. In open field, I wasn't a quarterback.
Right.
But they seen that. So it was like, yeah, he was like, I'm showing him too much. And I didn't care. I was like, and my mind switched like from quarterback to I just want to make it. Because I want to provide for my family. So I didn't care about my personal preference on what I wanted to play. But even though if I would have played quarterback, I'd probably still be playing to this day. Because the certain injuries that I had were like, because my body wasn't used to those movements.
Gotcha.
Like you play quarterback for, almost 10 years, 8, 9 years, and then all of a sudden you switch and now you playing special teams, you playing punt return, you playing kick return, you playing wide receiver, doing all these different movements that your body haven't done since you were 17, 18 years old.
Right.
It ain't gonna last that long.
Okay. Man, you mentioned a thing they're going through your progressions, and you had a post a little while ago saying if your son's a quarterback or your athlete is a quarterback and they're being trained by somebody that's not a quarterback, you should switch trainers. So with that being said, man, you mentioned something about going through your progressions. Once you go through all your progressions, what is a quarterback supposed to do? Like, I use those quotes as to say,
I got you.
What would you got me. All right.
All right. So depending on the route combination, they have reads. Usually it's a triangle read. They have option 1, they have option 2, and then the third option is usually a check down.
Okay.
Now, it's certain plays built in where it's whole field reads. But to make it simple, you cut the field in half. Option 1, option 2, and then the check down to either be in the middle or whatever the check down, depending on how the play design is. After those 3 options, and sometimes you'll have 4, either you scramble and try to create a play, or you scramble and throw the ball away and live for the next down.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense to me. All right, so I just had to get that in. I want to do that. You go to the NFL. You got drafted. You went undrafted, correct?
Yeah, undrafted.
Undrafted. And you watched the draft. I think the draft at that point was still a 2-day process.
3 days.
It was 3 days? Okay. All right.
I think so.
All right. So you go through that 3-day process and you don't hear your name called. Did you have an agent at the time?
Yes.
All right. Without spoiling too much of your book, because like I said, man, I'm gonna buy my electronic. You know what? I'm gonna buy my electronic copy this weekend and knock it out.
Okay. Appreciate it.
When the hard copies come out, man, for real, like I said, I'm buying my whole team a copy of it, man. My wife
I got you. I appreciate that.
Only thing is if when I do that, you see that big order, coming to Jackson, Mississippi, man, I need you to come through and do a signing for my kids, man.
I got you for
All right.
sure. I got you.
All right. So yeah, chat me up about that draft process and what happened.
Man, okay. So a week before the draft, well, before I say that, after the NFLPA game,
Mm-hmm.
I turned some heads and I started getting some attention, some national attention. Matter of fact, let me rewind you, and I might be giving a little bit from the book, but it's my story, so I don't mind telling it.
Okay.
And not everybody gonna read the book, so it don't matter. Really, my draft moment, it wasn't even the draft. My draft moment was getting the call for the NFLPA game.
Mm-hmm.
Because you gotta think, playing at a D1 AA, we only probably had like 2 or 3 games on ESPN. But I played in the the Magic City Classic game and the Turkey Day Classic game. That was Thanksgiving. We played on ESPN Classic. And every time, like, of course I'm going to put my best foot forward every game, but when I know we was playing on TV, I had extra incentive to ball out because I'm like, the world watching now.
Right.
So anytime we had a TV game, I was like, man, I'm going to make sure I ball out. So that was, and that's in November. So you got to think, this is my senior year. So November, it's a long time from November to the draft. Like you got November, December, January, February, March, April. Well, the draft was in April back then.
Right.
So you got all that time in between. So I'm like, I got to ball like crazy. So after that, I was like, man, I didn't think that was enough to turn heads like I needed to. And I was just praying, man, because, you know, Turkey Day Classic, that's our last game.
Right.
We don't have bowl games. We don't have none of that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man, I just need one more opportunity to prove myself. And I was just praying. I was praying. I was working out, and I was just being optimistic. I'm like, but I'm still in limbo. Like, man, if I don't get an opportunity, you know, this dream might not ever come true. So I think, and I'm getting chills right now. I think, was it December? It was around like, it was like after it was around like December something. I can't remember. And I got a phone call. And now that was the invite. James Guidry, he from the NFLPA committee called me and invited me, man. And I never heard, this was their second year. Because the big All-Star games are the Reese Senior Bowl.
Right.
We got the East-West Shrine game.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. And I think you got Texas versus Nation. And now it's like a Hawaiian. Like, it's a lot of them now.
Right.
But NFLPA game is like, it's like top 3 now. And I was doing my research on it. I'm like, yo, I'm about to be playing against cats that with the Tennessee, with the USC, like all these big schools. And as soon as I got the phone, I cried. I cried like I got drafted because I prayed and I knew this was the chance that I needed. Like I prayed for it, like, man, like, and I keep in contact with James Guidry to this day, man. Like, that changed my life, bro. Like, that was the opportunity I needed because I know the last game played in November is like, what have you done for me lately? Mm-hmm. Like the most recent film and then the competition level. So God works in mysterious ways. So I get there. The headline is Aaron Rodgers' brother.
Right.
Jordan Rodgers from Vanderbilt. And another kid, a linebacker from Tennessee, I think he battled through like cancer. Mm-hmm. And he had a great story. So I go into the game, or we go into practice. See, in All-Star games, people don't understand. Practice is more important than the game.
Exactly.
That's where all the
scouts
going to be there,
right? And
the GMs, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first day of practice, I was strictly quarterback. I think I was like third string, like third or fourth quarterback on the one team. The other team got more quarterbacks too. So I mean, I'm just happy to be there, but I'm also competing. I'm doing decent. I look decent. You know, I'm fitting in. I'm not standing out in no kind of way.
Right.
Other than the logo on my helmet. So, and the way I look, I'm the only black quarterback. So I'm fitting in the crowd, you know. And think we had like an injury, 2 injuries. And, you know, all-star games, you only got a certain amount of many receivers. But back to when the Atlanta Falcons scout talked to me, and my agent was in my ear like, hey, if you want to play receiver in this all-star game, you can. And I was just like, nah, I'm going to stay at quarterback. And he was like, he works for me. So he was like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just stay at QB. So how God works, he give you signs.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 injuries at receiver. Then, hold on. And Marquise Goodwin was there too.
Okay.
Mr. 4-2.
Right.
So he, and this is the only dude ever, and even Peanut ran a 4-3.
Right.
Mid 4-3. And he never overran my throws. Dude, nobody could complete a pass to this dude. And we was running go balls. We all underthrew him. They was like, just throw it out there. He'll go get it. He was outrunning everybody passes. Like, this is one of the fastest dudes I've ever seen. So I think he grabbed his hammy. He had like a little, I don't know if it's, he didn't pull it because he pulled out of the game, and then he ended up playing in the Reese Senior Bowl like a week and a half later. So it wasn't like a major injury.
Right,
so that's 3. We down 3 receivers now.
Right.
So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, I was like, God is like slapping me in my face with a sign. Like, this is your op. And I'm like, I went up to the coaches. I was like, if y'all need help at receiver, you know, I'll help out. So you playing quarterback, I don't wear gloves at QB.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at it, I'm not like the receiver coach is Art Monk, and he's like a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
And the assistant receiver coach was still my boy to this day. I told him, and we were struggling with completing like a back shoulder. We was trying to do a back shoulder one-on-one. Nobody could do it. So this after I told him, I was like, I'll do it. And they just looking at me like, so I'm out there. I do a release on the cornerback, and then they throw it. I don't have no gloves on. I turn and I caught the back shoulder, and I scored. So now they like, yo, they was like, okay. And then he started calling me Matthew Hatchett. That name, he gonna be mad if I'd have forgot that. That's my dude. He played like 6 years in the league. He started calling me Raw Dog. Okay. I didn't have no gloves.
No gloves.
So mind you, I'm the 4th string quarterback, 3rd or 4th string, I can't remember. Think 3rd. So now, if they needed a guy, a receiver, they like, Raw Dog, let's go. Like, he didn't call me Greg, he didn't call me Jenkins, none of that. He was like, Raw Dog, let's go. That was my name. So boom. So now the more I'm making plays at receiver, my quarterback reps are like, I don't have those reps no more. Like, now I'm just, but I still, you know, mix back and forth. Then they start calling me Slash 2.0, and I got a story about that too. Okay, so boom. So now the next day, we're in shoulder pads and helmets. So now I don't know where I got gloves from. Somebody gave me gloves.
Mm-hmm.
In some kind of way, this is when the ESPN staff came to practice. Bill Polian, Rod Smith, Todd McShay, all the big boys.
Right.
So shoulder pads and helmet, I'm going off. I'm talking about deep over. I never ran override in my life. Deep overrides, I'm snagging. And something Coach Moncrief taught me, practice how you play.
Of course.
My career is on the line. I'm catching passes. I'm running fast as I can, dog, like 20, 30 yards down the field.
Right.
Man, they like, and when I look back and look at the sound bites and it was like, man, it's a guy out here catching the ball and flying up and down the field. They was talking about me. And they interviewed Herb Edwards for real. And that day I probably had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. And they interviewed Herb Edwards. He had a sound bite. He was like, that little number 14. He was like, somebody's gonna get a good football player. Like he was talking, and I was just like, man, that was me and him still keep in contact to this day. Herb Edwards, got a lot of respect for him. Good family man and a good coach. But everything just fell into place, man. And Honestly, in the game, I only had 3 catches for like 40 yards in the game. But I did so much in the practices. Like
That's
I
all
had at
you need,
least 2
bro.
or 3, 2 to 4 touchdowns every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Raiders GM at the time, Reggie McKenzie, was impressed by that. It wasn't impressive enough to draft me, but
But the owner still was Al Davis at that time, right?
Mark Davis. Al Davis died a couple years before that.
Okay, okay.
His son.
Yeah.
But I'm a competitor, man. And after the All-Star game, we lost.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to like the after part, to like the luncheon and like eating and we about to leave, I'm sitting like eating my food like sad, bro. Like head down. Like, man, we lost. Only had 3 catches for like 40 yards. I dropped the pad, like a ball deflected. It was a bad throw, a ball deflected, and somebody intercepted. I'm feeling down and out. Bro, my agent coming up here so upbeat and happy. I'm like, what's up with this dude? And he was like, bro, you know what you did this week? He was like, man, you balled out. You turned some hit. And he kind of like put it in perspective for me. I'm like, I had to get out of the funk because I'm thinking like this is not a regular game.
Right, right.
I put together a body of work over a 4 or 5 day span.
Exactly.
The game wasn't really like a regular game. Like I already put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
And I still showed flashes in the live game as well. But so when I go back to Montgomery to training, I hit the ground running. I'm grinding again. Now I'm doing quarterback training a couple of days. So my quarterback coach, my agent ended up paying him to train me. So now he's training. Mind you, he trained Roddy White at UAB.
Right.
So he's qualified to train quarterbacks and receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So we would do quarterback training a couple of days a week. We'll do wide receiver training a couple of days a week. So I was prepared for both.
Okay.
I had double duty. So draft day, man, was like mixed, bittersweet. Todd McShay and all them, I think he told my agent my name will probably be brought up around the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, cool. So the first day I wasn't tripping. I knew I wasn't going to be a first rounder. I knew I wasn't going to be a second or third rounder. But that 5th round came around, and mind you, this is not a diss to nobody, but the Jaguars drafted Denard Robinson.
Gotcha.
He went through the same transition as me from
exactly quarterback to receiver, but he legit played quarterback all 4 years.
Yep.
I remember.
But he's not a natural athlete, and he can't really catch like that. I played with him in Jacksonville, but he's a humble dude, good dude. We still cool to this day. But his hand-eye coordination and stuff like that is not where mine is at. So me as a competitor, he's faster than me though, so that's probably what. And he's a playmaker as well. But my coach texted me, my head coach at Alabama State. He was like, that should have been you, kid. You're better than him. So that's the first time I got mad during the draft. Because I felt the same way he did as a competitor. So then I was just like, I just sat back and chilled. 6th round come, no phone calls. 7th round, no phone calls. And the way it came together, I was at my brother's house, and family just started slowly migrating. Like my brother cooked and stuff like that. I didn't want a draft party, but that's what it turned into.
Right.
Like people just wanted to be around me. And I didn't want that. So now I'm feeling humiliated. I'm feeling, I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm just numb. I'm just like, dang, what I'm going to do now?
Mm-hmm.
So with the iPhones around this time, what is 2013?
Yeah.
I think they just started putting like the city and the state when somebody call you. So I'm just chilling. My ringer was off because I didn't want any distraction. And if I got a phone call during the draft and you were on the team, we probably wouldn't be cool no more. So my phone vibrating. I look, I see 510, and I see the next number, and the last 4 numbers are all zeros. But it's not registering to me, and then I see, it didn't say Oakland, California, it said Alameda, because their facility is in Alameda. It's not in
right.
Oakland.
Right.
So it says Alameda, CA, California. I'm like, oh, hello, what area code is that? So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? And I'm talking to one of the dudes on the staff. He was like, hey, this is such and such with the Oakland Raiders. And I'm on the phone, and I go outside to take the call. This is an hour after the draft, so I'm not thinking. So even with me getting the call, I wasn't signing after the draft. I didn't get drafted. I was a mini camp invite.
Right.
Meaning I was on a tryout basis for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So people was posting on Facebook, congratulations, this. I'm like, I didn't sign. Like, what? Why are y'all telling me congratulations? And then after a while, I got tired of explaining myself, and I just was saying thanks, whatever. So I went to sleep angry that I didn't get drafted or I didn't sign. And when I woke up, I had a new perspective. I was back to where I was like, hey, I got an opportunity. I accepted it. And I was like, this is what it is. I'm grateful. I'm humble. And it's time to get to work. So I get to Oakland. The first day in the meeting room, what made me feel good, Dennis Allen, the head coach, first thing he say, I don't give a damn what school you went to, how you got here, but you here. When he said that, I was like, it's on. Oh, it's on. None of that big school, that don't matter now. How your skills about to talk now.
Okay.
So after that, I'm like, okay, this is my kind of party. So then special teams meeting follow after that. Mind you, I didn't catch no punt since my senior year in high school. And I didn't do kick return probably since my junior, maybe senior. Probably junior, something like that. So special teams meeting, Bobby April, we got a good relationship to this day. He says, because usually the kids that are drafted, because this rookie minicamp, so there's only rookies.
Mm-hmm.
So the drafted dudes and the dudes that sign they got first dibs on whatever the depth chart, all that. So they like, if you're a returner and you're not on this list, come see me after the meeting. I went up to him. I was like, hey, I'm a punt returner and a kick returner. And he was like, okay. He added my name on the list. Mind you, I'm probably 5th, 6th on the list. Day one, we out there catching kicks, catching punts. I'm catching every one of them. And I ain't caught no punts since I'm 23 at the time. No, I'm 23 at the time. So, yeah, like 5 years. I ain't catch no punt in 5 years. I'm out there snagging them. Natural hands. Form ain't the best, but I'm just snagging them. However they come, I'm snagging them. Hands. They like, man. And they were impressed by that. So me snagging the punts, and then my routes were raw because I wasn't a route. I'm fresh off transition from quarterback. But I got open. I don't know how, but one-on-ones, I was like rusty. I could get jammed up and stuff like that. When we went team, I was getting open, catching it, making plays, scoring touchdowns. How, I don't know. But I was just refusing to fail, man. I wasn't going home. And I wear this shirt with pride, man. I still wear my stuff. I got the shirt, I got the shorts on, like I wear it with pride, man, because I earned it. So I think the second day was my best day. And the third day was like slow. Like I ain't getting no opportunities. I'm kind of like, I'm not panicking, but I'm just like, man, I got to make something happen. Mm-hmm. So literally the last play of the practice, I scored a touchdown and they finished it. I threw the ball up in the air. They blew the whistle, blew it up, bring it up. So now this is when my life changed, man. Like I'll never forget this. Like, and it's like, I feel like things happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. We're supposed to have this interview when?
3 days ago.
Exactly. Now check this finna blow your mind, right?
Okay.
The story I'm telling you, I'm getting chills right now. The story I'm telling you was this weekend, dude. Mother's Day weekend, bro.
Right.
That's crazy, dude. And Damn, that's crazy. It was Mother's Day weekend, so after the last day, right? So we after practice, you take your jerseys off, boom, you put them in the bin and stuff like that. So they was like, when we break it, we in the huddle, they like the invites go to the auditorium to meet with the head coach. He thank you for being there, boom, dismiss you, they get your flights, you out of there.
Mm-hmm.
The drafted players and the signees, they going in the weight room.
Mm-hmm.
They getting weight room introduction, stuff like that. They finna stay. So I'm putting my jersey in, boom, boom. Them boys going that way, I'm going this way. Walking. Like, hey, I did my best. So I'm walking. Dude tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, Chicken, he's like, go in there with the, go in the weight room with the drafted and the signees. And I'm like, all right. It's not registering to me. I'm like, okay. So I just go in there. And over 3 days, you make plays. You talk here and there. You kind of develop a relationship with a few guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in there with them. And they looking at me like, you sign. I'm like, I don't know. Oh, no, they like, G, you sign. I'm like, bro, I don't know nothing.
Right.
So we get the introduction. I'm just like a fish out of water. I don't know what's going on. So after that, I get to my locker and we about to take a shower and all that. So before I get in the shower, I check my phone. Bro, my agent called me like 4 or 5 times. This man left like 3 voicemails. I'm like, what the hell going on? So I'm looking. I'm listening to the first email. He like, yo, he was like, I don't know what the hell you did, but these people want to sign you to it. Before he could say contract, I'm already, he was like, get up. He was like, get up. He was like, go upstairs and sign that thing. I was like, dude, I ain't even listened to the whole voicemail. Dang, I don't even know if I took a shower. Like, I went upstairs to where they signed the contract and stuff like that, reading over I think they emailed him the contract, so he read over the terms. I signed a 3-year deal. And right before I signed, they got it in front of us. They emailed everything to him. So now all I gotta do is sign. He already signed.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, they like, hey, is there anybody you want to call? And I'm like, yeah. So I called my mom.
Right.
And I'm like, Ma, I got some good news and some bad news. She was like, tell me the bad news. I was like, I'm not gonna be home for Mother's Day. And she was like, what? She was like, oh, baby, it was like, I wanted you to be here, da da da. And she, like, I gotta say this because she would have said it. She was like, shit, what's the good news?
Okay.
I was like, I just signed a 3-year contract with the Oakland Raiders. And she went crazy.
Ooh, man.
Screaming. And I was like, this is what it was for, bro. All them years, Little League, all of that, bro. Going through all of that. Everything I ever went through, that moment alone, I don't care about the money. I don't care about nothing. She was happy then, but she was real happy when I graduated college too.
Of course.
But just that moment for me, that's priceless, bro. That phone call and the fact that we're doing this interview, like on Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Bro, I might have signed my contract. What's today? Friday? I probably signed it on a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow. I signed my contract tomorrow, 7 years ago.
Okay.
Rookie contract. So like,
I'm gonna have to post this weekend, then, man, for real.
Yeah, bro. This was crazy, bro. And the fact that it fell on this day, this weekend, divine order, bro. Like,
exactly.
We can't explain like certain things, like that's.
But you brought up your mom, man. And I know how much she meant to you, and you can't tell the story of Greg Jenkins without telling the story of Sporty Black, if I may call it that.
Yeah, that's a fact for sure.
So man, give with it being Mother's Day weekend, man. Show a little appreciation if you can for your mom, man, or chat her up real quick. What she meant to.
She that's it would be anything I say would be an understatement because everything I ever did was for her. Like nobody had to tell me what hard work was. Nobody had to tell me what sacrifice was. Nobody had to show me what love was because I got all of that at home.
Right.
And it's like I seen her struggle. I seen her, go through things. But one thing I never seen her do, I never heard her complain before. She figured out a way. She found a way. She put food on the table. She worked. Sometimes she was always working, night to day. Like I didn't see that, but she found a way for everything. And she would be at practices. She'd be at game. I don't know how she did. It had to be two of her, everything she did. Yeah, 4 kids, and then she raised my cousin too, my first. So she raised 5 boys, man, and was at every one of our games. Like, how is that possible? How you working a full-time job and be a full-time mom and you cooking?
Right.
It's only 24 hours a day. She gotta have a stunt double.
Right.
It had to be 2 of her. So it's like every day was Mother's Day. Like I don't like putting like one day into like every day is Mother's Day, bro. You gotta understand the sacrifices. I'm a man, so I don't know what women go through, like giving birth. Like they superhumans, dog. They're the real heroes. Like you gotta think women carry babies, they nurture them, they give birth, they breastfeed. So that means they provide life and they can feed the baby. Like
right.
From their body, like you don't need food to feed them. Like the baby can survive off breast milk.
Right.
It's like, like some people can't handle, and I know I'll go off this topic real quick. Some people can't handle being in the delivery room watching the baby get born. I was in there both times watching my kids be born, and it was like, it wasn't nasty to me. That was beautiful.
I mean, I haven't had kids yet. I haven't been blessed to have them yet. But when we get there, I plan on being there too, man.
That was beautiful.
Right, rite of passage, man. You kind of got to be there, man.
That was beautiful. And women are like, they're superheroes, man. And my mom, it ain't enough. I can't put enough words into. We'll need another hour to talk.
Right,
she
right.
did everything, man. She did everything. She supported me. I told her I wanted to play professional football when I was like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I train, I don't sell dreams to kids.
Right.
We just work. I try to motivate you, inspire you, tell you my story, and I try to inspire the parents to don't knock these kids. I was that same, like, I was like the runt. Like, if we had a litter of puppies, I was always the smallest. I was little. Later in life, I grew. I got taller. My dad is tall, and I was just a late bloomer with growing.
Right.
But I was always the little one. He ain't big enough. He ain't fast enough.
It's like you just said, man. That's one of my favorite rappers' lines, man. He said, "I won't say you no dream, but the inspiration is free."
That's real.
That's real right there, man. So you mentioned the training, man. Rest in peace to your mom. I know she was a great writer.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Yeah, definitely. How did you get started with Greg Jenkins Elite Training?
Actually, I was training for the longest. Well, after I left Jacksonville, I was on injury reserve in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I came back home after that, and then I started training in Wesley Chapel. I went to high school, and just small, few kids here and there. So it started building. I started getting a few kids, and then me and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, we got serious, and then I ended up moving to Atlanta. So coming up here, and I'm dancing around like the last dance, going back to /2.0. Now I'm on the same coaching staff as Cordell Stewart. in
Nice.
Atlanta. Yeah, so the original Slash meets the new Slash.
Okay.
So now we're coaching together. So um, Jerome Bettis actually reached out to Cordell, was like, hey, can you train my son pretty much and his friend?
Mm-hmm.
But Cordell has a radio show and like he likes to golf a lot. So he really didn't have the time to be hands-on with it. Then he got his own son that he trains and, mentors and stuff. So he was like, hey, I can't do it, but I have a guy that trains. So he sent them to me.
Wow.
So now Jerome Bettis, he wanted me to train his son, and I trained their friend. That's Brooks, the one everybody always, Brooks Goodman.
The little quarterback?
Yep.
Okay.
So now I trained those two, and this is not like bragging or nothing like that, but they probably came to me like 9 days in a row. And I'm like, hold up. I don't have a business. I'm just like training, like being myself, like training. And I'm like, hold on. If these people are investing in me like this,
you need to start.
I have to take myself more serious, and I got to take it to the next level and have more of a real business approach, like get some paperwork to this thing.
Right.
So I'm like, so the money I made in them 9 days, I spent it on creating the LLC through Legal Zoom. And it cost a pretty penny, but it was well worth the investment, and I don't regret it. And that's another thing that's crazy. It'll be the 2-year anniversary for that in a couple weeks.
Okay.
By having an official a business.
That's what's up, man. That's definitely what's up.
So it's like a lot, man. And now that's what I do for a living. I'm a business owner. I train and I wrote a book, so I'm an author, mentor, motivational speaker. So I got a few things under my belt.
Hey, I certainly appreciate the story of Greg Jenkins, man. He's a true Gulf Coast legend and also Dade City legend. Just overall great dude too, man. Before I get you out of here, Greg, go ahead and drop all your social media accounts and if you got any websites or anything like that.
Facebook, Greg Jenkins. Twitter, @GJenk10, GJENK and the number 10. Instagram, GJenk10, GJENK and the number 10.
Okay. All right. No website or anything?
Nah, no website.
Okay. Hey, but yeah.
And on Facebook, my business page, Greg Jenkins Elite Training LLC.
All right, Greg Jenkins Elite Training LLC. Hey, for real, I'm getting on that book. I'm gonna buy it this weekend, and then after once those hard copies drop, man, because I don't want to get no kids no digital copies. Once the hard copies drop, now I'm telling you, man, I'm getting at least 20. At least 20, man.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you being on here with me, Greg.